بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين ربي يسر ولا توسر وتمم بالخير اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. One humble request before we start. Al-Quran Institute is a Quranic Dawah and educational institute. We would like to reach many others like you, so your assistance will be greatly appreciated. If you benefit from our videos, please like, share, and subscribe our YouTube channel. Jazakallahu khairan. Let's start, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Alhamdulillah, we have learned about Asma'ul Khamsa or magnified nouns in our last lesson. And today we are going to study lesson 11 of module 2, and the topic is Introduction to Derived Nouns or Ismul Mushtaq, inshallah. The root letters for Mushtaq is Shin, Qaf, Qaf. Form 1 verb, shaqaqa, changed to ishtaqqa as form 8, and it is a Ismul Mafool format. Transformation of form 1 shaqaqa to ishtaqqa form 8 is characterized by the prefix alif and infix ta after the first root letter. Shaqaqa is a ghayru sahih muda'afun verb with double letter in it. Then shaqaqa became shaqqa. Form 8 of shaqqa is ishtaqqa, and then ismu maful of ishtaqqa is mushtaqun, which means derived. We are going to discuss the three main categories of ism based on their derivation. Please pay attention. Ismul Jamid, Ismul Masdar, Ismul Mushtaq. The word Jamid means static. It is not derived from anything and nothing has derived from it. So that's why it's called static noun. The most common example of Ismul Jamid is Allahu. The word Allahu has not derived from anything and nothing has been derived from the word Allahu. We'll look at some other examples of Ismul Jamid later. The second noun is called Ismul Masdar. In English, they are also known as gerund or infinite. Ismul Masdar are those isms or nouns that are not derived from anything but other words are derived from them. Ismul Mushtaq, in English it means derived noun. Ismul Mushtaqs are those that are derived from a gerund or masdar. In summary, number 1, which is Ismul Jamid, is a noun in Arabic either not derived or nothing is derived from. Number 2, Ismul Masdar, it is a source of derivation, means other words are derived from it. And the third one is Ismul Mushtaq, they themselves have derived from a masdar or gerund. Let's learn a little bit more about Ismul Jamid. Ismul Jamid in Arabic grammar refers to nouns that are not derived from any verbs. These nouns are considered frozen or inert because they stand on their own and do not have an associated three-letter root trilateral verb from which the different words can be formed, as it is common in Arabic. Examples of Ismul Jamid. Sama'a means sky. The nearest verb to sama'a is sama, which means to raise. No relation between sama and sama'a in terms of their meaning. Ardun, earth. There is no root verb of ardun at all, which matches any close to ardun. Insanun, human. Nearest root verb is anisa. Anisa means befriending. No relationship with the meaning of insanu, and insanu is not derived from anisa. Ma'a, water. The nearest matching root verb is maha. Maha means to mix. Again, no relationship. Jabalun, mountain. The nearest root verb to that is jabala, to shape, no relationship. Bahrun, sea. Bahara means to split. Najmun, star. Nearest verb is najama, it means to hide. Hajarun, stone. Hajara means to stop. Now we are going to look at something very, very important. We need to learn the 7 types of Ismul Mushtaq. We need to know the in and out of these different forms of Ismul Mushtaq and how they differ from each other. We need to know them in this order: Ismul Fa'il, Ismul Mafool, Ismul Zarf, Ismul Ala. These 4 first. Then the other 3, Ismul Tafdil, Sifatun Mushabbaha, Ismul Mubalaga. Ismul Fa'il, Ismul Mafool, Ismul Zarf, Ismul Ala. Then Ismul Tafdil, Sifat Mushabbaha, Ismul Mubalaga. Let's understand what is meant by Ismul Fa'il. We must be already familiar with the term Fa'il. Ismul Fa'il. The ism derives from a verb. For example, Fa'ala, its Ismul Fa'il is Fa'ilun. Fa'ilun has become Al-Fa'il with the addition of Al. Ismul Fa'il means it's the subject, it's the doer. For clarification, we need to know a little bit more about Ismul Fa'il. Ismul Fa'il is the doer. So if we say Nasara, its Ismul Fa'il is Nasirun. So Nasara, he helped. Ismul Fa'il is Nasirun, the one who helps, helper. But there is no indication of how this person helps, how much he helps, how less he helps, how often he helps, or does he help all the time. There is no indication. It means this is just a simple doer and non-specific. So in other words, subject or doer in non-specific term is called Ismul Fa'il. You haven't got more details of how he does the job. Ismul Mafool, again, we are familiar with the word Mafool. Ismul Mafool, the object, which means one who receives the action, on whom the action is done. Here is an example. Qatala Dawudu Jaluta. Daud killed Jalut. Who did Daud kill? Jalut. So Jalut is Ismul Mafool. Daud is the Ismul Fa'il, the one who killed. And Jalut is the Ismul Mafool, the person who received the action. It means the person who was killed. Ismul Zarf, the ism of time and place. We are already familiar with that. Ismul Zarf is the 3rd type of Ismul Mushtaq. For example, Sayasla Naran Zata Lahab. Here, Sayasla, he entered to burn. Naran, where did he enter? Sayasla Naran, Naran is Ismul Zarf, the place. Ismul Ala means instrument or tool by which an action is performed. An example is Miftahun, the key. The key is used to open the lock, so it is an instrument. Mizanun, it is the scale. It means the scale, to weigh something. Next, Ismul Tafdil. It came from the verb faddala, to express comparison or the superlative degree. Example, khayrukum ta'allama, the best among you who learns. Here khayru means the best, superlative degree. And Ismul Tafdil can also mean comparison between a few. The same word khayrun could be used for comparison between a few. Example, haza khayrun min zalika. This is better than that. Khayrun could mean good, better, best. When it is better, it means comparison. When it is best, it means superlative. Next is sifate mushabbaha. It is an ism, resemblance or likeness to the meaning of the original noun, adding longevity or duration. Please pay attention. Ismul fa'il, sifate mushabbaha, and ismul mubalagha, this has got some connection. Sifate mushabbaha and ismul mubalagha, they are also ismul fa'il plus something else, which we shall discuss. Sifate mushabbaha is also a doer, also a subject. Here, there is some information about how the action is done. Ismul mubalagha is also an ismul fa'il, but here, in the same way, there is some additional information about how the action is done. So ismul fa'il, sifate mushabbaha, ismul mubalagha, they are all ismul fa'il. But with sifate mushabbaha, there is some specific information, and with ismul mubalagha, similarly, there is some information which will distinguish between each other. So let's look at sifate mushabbaha. I'll repeat the description on the screen. Resemblance or likeness to the meaning of the original noun, which is ismul fa'il, adding longevity or duration, time length, how long. Let's look at these three words. Rahima, this is a fi'l, and it means he became merciful, to become merciful. In other words, he blessed with mercy, and that's a fi'l. Now, the person who does the mercy, which is the ismul fa'il of rahima, is rahimun. Fa'ala, ismul fa'il is fa'ilun. Nasara, ismul fa'il is nasirun. Ja'ala, ismul fa'il is ja'ilun. So rahima, ismul fa'il is rahimun, the one who does the mercy. But as we said in the beginning, ismul fa'il, its meaning is non-specific. But look at this one now. Rahimun. Remember, rahimun and rahimun, what is the difference? Since rahimun is non-specific and rahimun is very specific, which could be sifate mushabbaha or ismul mubalagha, this rahimun refers to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Other isms like this, rahimun, kareemun, hakeemun, alimun, they all refer to Allah. But without this ya, like rahimun, the other term, which is rahimun, that will refer to just a normal person. For example, the person by the name Rahim, we know, will have that spelling as Rahimun. But when it refers to Allah, it's Rahimun. MashaAllah. Barakallahu fikum. I hope you have a very clear idea of 7 types of Ismul Mushtaq and how they differ in their meanings. We shall have an extended discussion about derived noun or Ismul Mushtaq in another chapter. But before we conclude this session, please look at some of the patterns of these Ismul Mushtaq isms. Details breakdown of Ismul Fa'il and Ismul Mafool have been covered in earlier chapters. So I would like to show you few patterns of Ismul Zarf, Ismul Ala, Ismul Tafdil, Sifate Mushabbaha, and Ismul Mubalagha. Ismul Zarf. Please try to remember just the common patterns. There are 2 common patterns in Ismul Zarf. One is maf'ilun, the other one is maf'alun. Example of maf'ilun, masjidun, mashriqun, maghribun. Maf'alun example is makhrajun, madkhalun, matbahun. Ismul Ala. Most common pattern is mif'alun, and examples are mizanun, miftahun, mir'atun, miqdarun. Please look at the patterns of Ismul Zarf and Ismul Ala. Both of them starts with mim. One will have maf'ilun, mim with fatah. Ismul Zarf will start with ma, and Ismul Ala will start with mi. Maf'ilun, mif'alun. It will be very useful if you can remember this. Ismul Zarf, maf'ilun starts with ma, and Ismul Ala starts with mif'alun, starts with mi. Let's look at the common patterns of Ismul Tafdil. Obviously, there are quite a few patterns in the last three Ismul Mushtaq. Do you have to know all of them? No. You should try and remember the common patterns only, just a few. The rest you will understand as it comes along, and you can always cross-check with your PDF file, inshallah. Ismul Tafdil. The most common pattern of that is af'alu, af'alu. The next common pattern is fu'la, fu'la, and the plural of fu'la is fu'alun. Sifat-e mushabbaha, the most common pattern is fa'ilun, fa'ilun. For example, karimun, rahimun. The rest are less used patterns used in Quran. So you have to just remember fa'ilun, the most common pattern in Sifat-e Mushabbaha. Next is Ismul Mubalaga. Again, fa'ilun came as the most prominent pattern of Ismul Mubalaga. There are other patterns as well in Ismul Mubalaga, and they appear time to time, and you'll be able to identify them as the time goes, inshallah. For example, Rahmanu, Ghaffarun, Ghafurun, Rahimun, Malikun. Before we conclude, we need to just distinguish between the fa'ilun pattern of Sifat-e Mushabbaha and fa'ilun pattern of Ismul Mubalagha. As we know from the meaning that Sifat-e Mushabbaha will give the doer as well as longevity or duration, time length. Ismul Mubalagha will point to the doer as well as amplification, intensity. How would you identify them in a sentence? Well, the context will tell you, inshallah. Plus, grammatically, fa'ilun will be a lazim verb, means it will not have any maful. But fa'ilun in Ismul Mubalagha will be a muta'addi verb, which means it will have a maful within the sentence. Thank you for your attention, and personally I would request you to learn this whole derived noun properly, as it's going to make a huge difference in comprehending the Quranic verses using this part of the grammar, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah, we have reached the end of this lesson. I hope you found it helpful. Please repeat watching this video a few more times and study the PDF file together. For reference, you may visit our over 60 YouTube video series for Module 1. Barakallahu fikum. Rabbana taqabbal minna innaka antas samiul alim. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. One request before you go. Al-Quran Institute is a Quranic Dawah and educational institute. We would like to reach others like you. So if you benefited from this video, please share with others, and most importantly, please subscribe our channel and like the videos. Don't forget to watch other video series on Quranic Arabic course. Barakallahu fikum. Rabbana taqabbal minna innaka antas samiul alim. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen.
Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.